What's up, ladies? Welcome back to my channel. So, as you can tell by the caption of the video, we are going to be doing a freestyle full set. So, this was actually a birthday set, and she is a Leo. So, she told me I could do any color, any style, literally anything. She just wanted it to represent her sign. So, we did do some cute Leo themed designs, I guess you can say, but of course you won't see that to the end. But anyways, before we get into this tutorial, please make sure to subscribe to your girl. I would appreciate it so much. And then also like this video and leave me a comment if you'd like. Don't forget to check out my social medias, my Instagram and my TikTok, which will be in the description below. And yeah, hit me up, talk to me, ladies, tell me what you want to see on these videos. But without further ado, I will go ahead and I'll go ahead and hop into the video. So of course, the whole beginning of the video is prep. You guys know I always show the prep. So I started by pushing the cuticles back, and then I used my ceramic cone shaped drill bit to go around the cuticles to get all the dead skin and excess nail off. So then I went in with my sanding band, 180 grit sanding band, and I just gently, quickly went over the natural nail. And what that does is gets rid of any natural oils. That is very, very important because it helps with the retention and preventing lifting. So of course, kind of think of it as if there are, our nails do produce a lot of natural oil, and that will cause lifting because it's not, the acrylic and the nail tip are not able to fully adhere to the natural nail due to the oils. So you know how like oil and water doesn't mix? Well, yeah, oil and like acrylic, I mean, technically you can mix it, but you know what I'm saying. So anyways, did those two steps. I went ahead and also clipped the cuticles. That helps prevent lifting as well, helps that new growth come in nice and smoothly. And so now I am just going in and filing. She did a medium length, and of course we did square shape. So I believe I got these tips from Amazon. I honestly did not remember the brand, but if you really want to know, I will take the time to go and like go back through my orders and find them, because I can remember what they look like, I just don't remember the name. But if I see them, I will know. So if you are like somebody that really wants to know the brand of these tips, just leave me a comment down below and I will definitely go back and find that information out for you. So again, with the square shape, I always tell you ladies to just file the sides at a 90-degree angle, and to also file that free edge straight up and down at a 90-degree angle to get that nice crispy clean square shape. And another thing, ladies, that I forgot to mention, but when filing, make sure that you're always turning your hand, in well, not your hand, but your client's hand, into many different positions, looking at the nails from all different angles, because it definitely helps you see, things a little bit differently. You know how when you look at something for too long, it kind of just starts to look the same? Well, it's like that with nails too. So that's why I always say to do that step, because that way you can see, if there's any imperfections from this side but not the other side, or from looking at the hand this way but not that way. It just helps you kind of make sure that the nails are good all over and not just from one point of view. That definitely matters, because our hands are moving like crazy all day every day. So what you see looking at them in just your normal position when doing nails, you might not see from another angle. So it's nice to just go ahead and double check that, rather be safe than sorry. And so that's what the nails look like after shaping. So I'm going back in with that same sanding band, and I'm just, like I said, briefly gently going over where the nail tip meets the natural nail. And this step is important because it helps blend the nail tap in the nail tap. You guys, excuse my slurred freaking tied up tongue. I don't know what's going on with me today, but it helps blend the nail tip in to the natural nail, and this helps prevent lifting and also helps with retention and helping those nails last a little bit longer this is a really important step. I definitely can say that I've never ever not done this, even when I was a beginner. So I definitely recommend doing this. It's super important. And again, you don't want to apply too much pressure when using your e-file, and you don't want to go too fast. You want to make sure that you're, constantly keeping it moving, doing it light-handedly, because it will cause friction, and friction causes burning. So definitely just be careful with that. And another tip, as you can see how I have my drill bit, like the sanding band bit, like extended a little bit, that definitely helps with just getting, I feel like it's easier to fully, file the nails and the nail tips and everything like that. It just gives you a little bit more room to work with. So I applied my Mia Secret dehydrator, and this is my Young Nails protein bond. Those are really important with helping prevent lifting. Literally, you guys, every single step in the prep helps the nails last way longer, helps lifting, and minimalizes lifting so much. So that's why prep is so important. Probably the most important step or stage, I should say, in the nail process. Prep is everything. So I'll just go ahead and get into what I'm doing on each nail. So on the pinky nails, we are doing like a glittered ombre type of look. So what I'm doing is laying down a little bit of nude, because I want like the nude background look. Now I'm not going to do the whole nail because it's just unnecessary, since with the red glitter we are going to be covering the tip. You're not going to see behind the red glitter anyway, so it's no need to waste acrylic or build up too much of a nail, at this point. So as you can see, I'm just placing the red glitter. I got this glitter off of Nail Supply Glamour so long ago. I don't remember the name, but I mean, it's just red glitter. You can get this anywhere, Amazon, Michael's. But to pick that up, I just kind of poured some into a napkin, and then I'm getting a little bead of clear, and I'm just using that to pick it up and place it. And when I first started, I used to just pick the glitter up with a wet brush and lay it, and it worked, but this way is so much easier. And on top of that, it's working smarter and not harder, because I say that because when you're picking that glitter up with the acrylic, it kind of is already helping it set on the nail and stay in place, versus when I used to just pick the glitters up with a wet brush and lay it on my nail. When I would go back through to cap it with the clear, it would be moving and coming off, and now I'm having to go back through and try to put some glitter down, but I already got clear acrylic on. It was just a whole mess, you guys. So this way is definitely easier, it's definitely quicker, and it just makes so much more sense. And if you heard me say just a minute ago that you don't have to put the nude on the whole entire nail because you don't want to build up too much nail, what I meant by that is, as you can see, this was a nail that I'm encapsulating, and the biggest tip I always give when encapsulating is, for your base, whatever it is, whether it's a color, whether it's glitter, whether it's foil, like whatever the case may be, work lighter as far as acrylic, because you don't want to put too much acrylic on the nail and then put whatever it is you're encapsulating, and then on top of that put clear acrylic, because now your nail is just going to look very thick, and you're going to have so much filing to do, and it's not really going to match the rest of the nails, because unless you're encapsulating all of them, the rest of them will just be built up from what the basic acrylic application, whereas the ones that you encapsulated now are going to look all big and thick, because you had so many layers, or too thick of layers, I guess I should say. So when encapsulating, as you've seen, just put your base very lightly. Of course, it's to your discretion of how much you feel like you need or don't need, but that is a tip to just work lightly. Put whatever it is you're encapsulating down, and then cap it with your clear, and you're all set. So as you can see, like, the pinky nail doesn't look fat, it doesn't look bulky, anything like that. It's like smooth and clean. Cool. So for the next couple nails, the designs are more so going to come into play afterwards. So I think on the rest of them, except for the pointer, I'm just going in with my Young Nails, what is this color? Cover Rosebud. I love this so much. I use this acrylic more than I use anything else. It just is so perfect. It's so easy to work with. Like, as you can see, I'm literally just building the nail with no issue. Wiping the sides, cleaning up the cuticle, and boom, it's leaving me with like beautiful, beautiful foundation, beautiful application, beautiful nail. 10 out of 10. Matter of fact, 1,000 out of 10. I just love it so much. But aside from that, this is not a promotional video, but yeah, I'm just working my way up from the tip. Maybe, using about 3 or 4 beads. I always tell you ladies that it could be different depending on the length or the set or the client's nails or the acrylic you're using. Like, there's so many different things that come into play when applying the acrylic, but rule of thumb is normally to use about 3 or 4 beads. And of course, you'll look at the hand from different angles, especially when applying the acrylic, to see if you need more in some places, and if you do, go ahead and add it, and if not, then you're good to go. But one of my biggest tips is, well, I'll give you a few. One, as you can see, I'm wiping the sides of the nails as well as the edge of the nail to keep it nice and clean, because doing that really eliminates so much filing in the end, because the nail's pretty much already clean and crisp, so I'll just have to go back over it to clean it up a little bit. My second tip with, as far as acrylic application, is to make sure that you're wiping the cuticle. Now, when you apply your cuticle bead, you don't want to go too close to the cuticle, because then it could flood the cuticle and now you're going to have lifting. So, that happens no matter how good of a nail tech you are. Sometimes you can get, even if it's just a smidge of acrylic on the cuticle. So, an easy fix to that, rather than, waiting to the end to try to file it off or clip it off, whatever, you just clean around with your brush, clean around the cuticle, and it's that simple. You don't want to wipe too much off, because then you'll have like a gap in between the cuticle and the nail, or the cuticle and the acrylic, I guess I should say. But you do, want to make sure that it's the cuticle and the skin is free from all acrylic, to prevent that lifting and to let that new growth come in very smoothly and uniformly, and leaving you with a nice set of nails. And that will help your clients come back with come back for fill-ins, because they won't really have any lifting. And I don't know about your clients, but sometimes I do have a few clients that use their hands like crazy, and if one nail does start to lift, unless they come and get that fill-in, when they should, it's just eventually going to have to end up being, just completely replaced, which it happens. Even if you don't cause the lifting, it happens. But that's just a tip to clean the cuticle. And my third tip was that I feel like there was this idea that was thrown out there that nails need to be nice and thick in order for them to last, or not break. And that is so not true. So one thing I have learned, and it has not steered me wrong, and I've literally had no issue with this, having a good nail does not depend on if your whole nail is thick enough, or if it's fat, I guess built enough, or if there's enough acrylic. No, it matters when you are building up your apex. So the apex is the spot I am touching on right now. It's literally the spot where the natural nail and the nail tip meet. So like when you go and you glue down your nail tips, that part right there, that is the most important part. That's the apex. And the reason that is important is because 9 times out of 10, when a nail breaks, it's going to break right there, because that is the heart of the nail. That is pretty much what's holding that nail on. So of course, you're building up the rest of the natural nail with the acrylic, but no matter how much acrylic you put right there, if there's not enough to, at the base, at the heart of the nail, then, you're just going to have breaking. So obviously, gluing that nail tip onto the natural nail, that's why it's the heart of the nail. It wouldn't be on there without that part of the nail. You know what I mean? That might sound a little confusing, but I hope that you get it. And if not, I don't have any problem with answering any questions or, further explaining that. But in a nutshell, the apex is the most important part. As long as your apex is nice and built, the rest of the nail, of course, we don't want it to look uneven or lumpy or anything like that. So you just make sure that the apex is where it should be. Make sure that it's not too thin. So on this nail, I attempted to do like a marble nail with the nude acrylic and the clear, and for some reason it just was not marbling. Like as you can see, like it did, but it didn't marble how I wanted it to. So I just kind of, you know, kept it going. It didn't look bad. It just wasn't, I guess it wasn't what I thought it would be. Still cute, just I think maybe I should have did it with white. So anyways, I'm not even going to explain that step because it didn't really show up how I thought it would. So there's no point in even, you know, trying to go into that. But we did the marbling, and this is going to be another encapsulated nail. So as you can see, I just did a very thin base. Like if you look at the nail, you can tell that there's definitely not enough acrylic for her to leave out with her nail like that, because it would literally just snap. So I just did a really thin base, and I'm going in with these flakes I got these from Amazon. There's so many different colors. There's only one pack here, but like in total it came with about 3 different packs of 3 different colors, and you know, I guess types of foil flakes. So I don't want to call them foil because foil is like a little bit thicker and has its own texture to it. These are very, very like thin and sheer, and I don't really know a proper way to describe them, but they're definitely different from foil. But anyways, the colors that we decided to do for her set was red and gold. I'm sorry, red and silver. And of course we have the nude, but you know, nude is kind of like it's literally a base color. It can match with anything really. So yeah, we just picked up some red and silver flakes, and I just kind of, you know, did it randomly. No really technique to that, or you know, no special pattern. I literally just dipped my brush in that monomer, dipped it into the flakes, and placed it wherever my brush took me. And of course I did kind of make sure that there wasn't more red than there was silver, and vice versa. So I kind of, you know, made sure that it at least was balanced as far as the colors, but the amount of color for each you know, foil flake. But that was pretty much it. And then I'm just going back in with that clear and working my way from bottom to top and encapsulating that foil. And then on the thumb, it's just going to be another plain nude nail until the end. So I'll just let you guys finish watching this, and then I'll jump back in when we get to the next step. Okay, you guys, so this is the finished result, well, of the application anyways. But do you see how clean and nice they look? Like, honestly, I could just put a top coat on and send her on her way, but we're not. But you get my point. So that is why I say when applying your acrylic, to make sure that you're being super clean with it, or at least trying to. Cleaning the cuticles, wiping the sides of the nail, wiping the edge of the nail. That way everything can stay nice and clean, and in the end you'll have a quick, maybe 5-7 minute file, and you're good. So I'm just going back through and cleaning up the nails. I don't really have much to do here, so it's the same steps: filing the sides at a 90-degree angle, filing the edge at a 90-degree angle. And I do always like to add this step in after we apply the acrylic, and that is filing underneath the sides of the nails. You don't have to go hardcore at all. Maybe just, it's literally just to clean those up, because a lot of times with the application of the acrylic, sometimes the acrylic can kind of like seep. I don't want to say seep, but it can kind of like leak over underneath the nails, and then once it dries, now you got like rigid edges. Or maybe when you were filing the nail tip from the prep phase, the nail tips were got a little rigid, because the nail file is usually sharp. So whatever the case may be, you just want to make sure that that is nice and clean and uniform looking, because of course underneath the nail seems like it's not that big of a deal, but I promise it is, and it really truly does make a difference when you file underneath the sides. So yep, so anyways, I will let you guys watch this, and I'm gonna jump back in the next step. So now we're going to go ahead and move over to the filing with e-file. So I always start off with taking my e-file and like filing the curve of the nail tip, just to, like I said, make sure it's nice and clean, get any acrylic that may have gotten under there, any excess nail, like anything that could be under there. We're going to, get it out, get it nice and clean. So of course, after that, you start by going around the cuticles. This not only, makes is the start of making sure that the whole entire nail is nice and smooth and even, but it also helps seal the cuticle, when that is a big part of preventing lifting. You definitely have to make sure that you're sealing that cuticle, because when the new growth comes in, it's 9 times out of 10, if you don't do this step, when the new growth, comes in, your acrylic may start to lift because it's not where it should be. And what I mean by that is, when if there's too much acrylic right there, as the new growth comes in, it'll just, there's too much acrylic, so it's not all adhered to the nail like it should be. Now, if you file it down and you seal it and you get all of that excess acrylic off of there, and make sure that it's nice and filed down, when the new growth grows in, that acrylic is going to go right along with it, and it'll be nice and smooth and clean. And of course, the easiest step of them all is to just file, starting at the top, obviously, file down from left to right, down the whole entire nail. And that will make sure that you have a nice, smooth foundation, especially when you're going to be doing designs and stuff like that. That's really important. I mean, it's important in general. You don't want to have any lumpy nails, you know what I'm saying? So it's the same step. It's actually pretty simple. And again, as you see, I left my drill bit extended a little bit, because I noticed that it was way easier to work with, and it definitely gave me, like, I guess more, I want to say more coverage, honestly. I don't feel like I'm taking as long because I'm not having to sit there and, move super slow. Because with the nail, with my drill bit being out more, I just feel like I'm able to cover a lot more, a lot faster. So now I am buffing the nails. This is a pretty simple step, but it's very important also because without buffing the nails, any scratches or, marks or anything from that e-file, when filing, any marks that got on there, they will definitely still be on there. So the buffer is what helps with that. It gets rid of all that and gives you a nice clean base for anything like this. So I don't ever video it because it's a simple step. Sometimes I have my clients wash their hands. Sometimes I just wipe the nails off with some acetone or alcohol, whatever I have available. And so that just cleans all the dust particles, all that nitty gritty junky off, and gives us a nice base for decor. So like I said in the beginning of the video, this is going to be a Leo themed birthday set. So on this ring finger here, I'm actually going to spell out the word Leo with these cute letter charms that I got. I believe I got them from Amazon. I'm not quite sure, but I order basically everything that I get off of Amazon. So yeah. And so the nail rhinestone glue that I used is Macart. I have used this since I started doing nails. If I'm not mistaken, I do sometimes switch around, but it's not intentionally. I just look up rhinestone glue on Amazon, and whatever pops up in my previous orders, I just usually click one of those. But 9 times out of 10, I've noticed that it's Macart. So, in order to get like a proper cleaner placement, I did use some tweezers that I keep at my salon, which helps with little things like this. They do come in handy, and it was just easier for me to place them with that and give them a nice, even straight look rather than, well, we did slanted actually, but you know what I'm saying. They're not all over the place. They're not crooked. They're not leaning. They are exactly how they should be. Versus trying to pick them up with my fat fingers. They would have been all over the place if they even went on the nail at all. So on this nail, we decided to do like the Leo horoscope sign, if that's the proper terminology. Don't kill me. But yeah, so we just made the Leo sign. We did use smaller rhinestones, that way we could it wouldn't look so crowded, I guess you can say. So I just kind of freehanded this, and then I did decide to go back in and just add some random rhinestones around it just to make it pop a little bit more. It did kind of look a little plain with just the horoscope sign. So yeah, it's pretty simple. And again, I used my Macart rhinestone glue on this finger as well. And something I forgot to mention, as you've seen, I feel like since this is so thick, it's easy if you get like a little cleanup brush or any brush that you have handy, and kind of use it to spread the glue out evenly, because when it dries, however it's on the nail is how it's going to dry. So if you literally just put 5 dots over the nail, it's going to dry with 5 dots. It doesn't smooth out on its own. It doesn't, eventually flatten out on its own. However you apply it to the nail is how it's going to dry. So that's really something important to remember. And it does dry almost, as soon as you put it under the dryer, it's practically dry. So you want to make sure that it is exactly how you want it when going into the dryer, because it is a big step to have to go back and file things off or take the rhinestones off or whatever it is that you placed, and completely redo that. File off the glue, file off the rhinestones, whatever it is, and then redo it. That takes up so much time. So just when using this product, definitely take your time. That way you can just put it in dry and be done with it. So these red stones, I forgot to mention, I did also get off Amazon as well. And on this hand, I'm trying to remember what we did here. I believe I know for a fact we put the Leo sign, the Leo like word on her ring finger. And I definitely got those off of Amazon. Now, this one was a little bit more tricky because my tweezers were having trouble picking it up, but when placing it, I guess because it was like it wasn't really heavy, but of course to a nail it's heavy. Because it was so heavy, it kind of kept slipping off and trying to fall off. So I just, worked around with it, played around with it, put it on, and kind of pressed it down a little bit so it would kind of sink into the glue, and then we were all good. And then also, like I said, when you put that under the dryer, it does dry pretty quick, like almost instantly. So definitely, there's no rush. Definitely just take your time with the stuff, and you don't want anything to look like out of place or not even, or you're missing a stone on this finger that you have on the other one because you were moving too fast. It's just better to take your time. Rushed work is never really good work. So yeah, that's just a little vent session, I guess. But anyways, on the middle finger, I just did like some freestyle stones. I usually always do this unless people like show me a picture and say, hey, I want my stones like this. Normally I just literally whip out my stones and do whatever I'm feeling. So, and if you guys are wondering, the tool that I'm using to place the stones, and the same tool that I used to place the stones for the horoscope sign, is just literally a very old dotting tool that I had. It's just the smallest one that I have, so I've just always used it for rhinestones. I used to not use it for that. That's all I use it for now. It really does come in handy though, with picking little things up and placing them on the nail without having to get my fingers gluey. I never ever use my fingers. I always use this actually, so I don't even know why I just said that, but it just helps the application of stones so much easier, so much cleaner, and so much more precise. Like literally wherever I put them, they're gonna be. Of course, they'll slide until they dry, but well, sometimes they do. But I can just fix them right back with my dotting tool, and we're in business. So yeah. Anyways, I didn't get to film the step that we did on the thumbs. We just did glitter thumbs, so that step is pretty simple. Whatever color glitter I'm using, I just take that same color gel polish and paint the nail, and then I pour the glitter over top and make sure to cure it before trying to dust it off. Otherwise, the glitter would just come right off with the polish. So yeah, pour the glitter over top, let it cure for 60 seconds, and then dust it off, and you'll be in action. So this is the finished result. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and love these nails as much as I do. Please make sure to subscribe and click the like button, and like I said, feel free to follow me on my social medias, reach out, ask me any questions, comment, let me know what you guys want to see. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.